presentation. This evening we would like, as Lady Birds, like to introduce you to what we have observed in this city of Čadca. As you can see in the first of our slides, there is one curiosity, at least to us it sounded strange, city of Čadca. We would not expect this to be a city, but it's a town. A town. The first line says it's mesto Čadca, which is town Čadca, and it's more appropriate than the city of Čadca. So it's a curiosity from the language point of side. And we can see the same coat of arms as you have previously seen. The left side symbolizes basically the environment, which is based on forests in green color. In the middle there is a pine tree probably, and some leafy trees on the sides. And we don't exactly know what these mountains mean. They are not Matra, Patra, Tatra, no. But we can obviously see that this is the terrain that we have here. And the right side is the symbol from the Christian point of view. It's the Saint Bartholomew, is that pronunciation, Bartholomew? And here we can explain our first experience that we had in our observation. We met a priest, or at least trainee priest. It was a very young person who served at a cemetery, and there was a funeral, and we took this opportunity to stop him because he was leaving. We stopped him and tried to interview him. He didn't want to take a picture with us, but still was able to answer some of our questions, but not those substantial information that we wanted. He didn't know much about the town where he has been working, so we went further to the cemetery and met an undertaker who also should provide information relevant to our task, but unfortunately he didn't. Did he? No. He took it more from an administrative point of view. He didn't know much about history. He knew that there are 4 cemeteries, 2 of them are still used and 2 are basically dead cemeteries. And what his information, as I can remember, was interesting because of the fact that some of the writers who have been born here and lived here are buried in these places. So we moved on, and yes, this information came to us at a local library, quite a modern and very nice practical building, or yes, the building that we pass every day. And we learned from the person at the information desk that the name of Čadca comes from the situation that this area was always a forest, large forest, and if people wanted to settle here, they had to burn those forests or part of the forest to be able to start building houses and some kind of agriculture maybe. So Dimiť čadiť in Slovak language means when you have a fire, the smoke that goes out of it is čadiť, and Čadca is the place where they started.
It's similar in Romanian, isn't it? Because I was reading your Facebook page, yeah? And can you tell them what you said about that?
Čadca, pronounced like that in Romanian, means means fog. So I was surprised that every morning is very foggy, so I thought that there might be a different connection between the Romanian pronunciation and the name.
Okay, and in cemetery we also found really old lime tree, which got also the sign that it's actually prevented. So we were told there are many old lime trees, and they're trying to protect them this way. And this is just one of the 4 cemeteries we found out that are in Čadca, and we also found out there used to be old Jewish cemetery which doesn't exist anymore. And currently in the 4 cemeteries we found there are families from Slovakia, Czech, some Germans, Hungarians, Polish, and also Jewish people. And we took the picture of some old gravestones, but what we learned from the undertaker, he said this is not there actually, as actually guys before us said where the cemetery started. This is old, these are the stones from old graves which been kind of cancelled and reused, and they just use the stones for somebody, if somebody turns up and wants them back. So that's why they were in one row there.
Okay, yes, we were talking about library here in Čadca, but I forgot to mention the one information before this slide, before this part. We talked about the seal or the coat of arms, but we didn't mention the flag and colors that are typical of the town, green and white. Green representing, of course, all the green environment, and we are not sure about the white part of it. I don't know if anybody knows what white would be.
Snow.
Maybe snow in winter. Fog. Yes. And peace. So we have this.
Okay, let's go back to library.
In library. Also in library, the person, however willing he wasn't able to give us his personal experience of living of this town because he hasn't come from this town. So we were given information about the literates who used to live here or were born here. Can you please?
One of them was Mr. Nitka, who was actually the writer who wasn't allowed to write during communism, but he was the director of this library, and he was really into spreading the culture of literacy amongst people. And he also got a room in a library.
Yes. Hall of Honor or something. Yes, Hall of Honor.
And what we found really interesting in the library, they had the whole bookcase with books by authors from this region, and one of the most popular was Anton Pojong, who wrote books for children and their stories from this region about farmers and ordinary people. And as well, we found lots of artwork in library, and actually all this work was done by Ondrej Zimka, who was the designer of the fountain in the town. So all these paintings were made by him, and they are all, you can all see them in the library. And apart from this little piece work, you could also find the exhibition of local artists there, and lots of paintings by children from primary school and preschool or kindergarten.
And if I can add,
Yep.
that the first aim was to find out who designed this fountain, and at the end we thought that the old doors painted were more interesting for us than the fountain. But what we heard that the designer in one of his interviews said that he knows that he didn't want to design something which you can say straight away that this is a fly or a submarine, and he wanted us to think. When we walk around, he didn't want us to say that exactly what is it. So what you teach us to think a little bit differently.
And I consider this piece of art, which is in the right bottom corner of the screen. It's made of wood and it's curved out of wood, and it's a very good piece for our language purposes. It gives a lot of topics to
Can
this.
I just interrupt? You mentioned the word scythe earlier today, and if you look at the big piece on the left, the guy who's on the two wheels, he's got a scythe in his hand. Yeah. He's got a rake in the other hand, I think, and the scythe in his first hand.
Okay. And these are the books by Anton Pajong, Kisucké rozprávky and Trotarová palica. And we really like the illustration by Stano Lajda, and in one of the books we actually can see the stones. Begunky, yes, which we can find on the south part of Čadca. But unfortunately, we're told most of them being damaged. But
yes, I would like to jump here with Trotarová palica, also a story for children by Anton Pajong, local writer, and it's Tinker's Stick. And it indicates the original craft that was, or craft, one of the crafts that was run here in this area, tinkers and yes, tinkers and some textile industry that still exists here. Okay. I don't know how to comment on this.
we saw lots of places with use of English language, like lifestyle, and spending something together. It was behind windows still, so we couldn't see that. And meso, Slovak word, and market, English. So it's kind of mix and match languages. We found Czech language, vinařství, and we found pajus, which is Hungarian, in form moustache. Right? Yes, good. And Czech medical, which we thought it might sound French. And we also find some Italian, bianco and rosso. So there are influences from many languages. Is there anything you haven't mentioned? And our last task was to suggest some symbols for a t-shirt. So we thought we kind of put the t-shirts together, and we did. Alrighty, over here. So what's on the t-shirt?
We didn't decorate it with all the symbols that this town has, but I think we took some significant ones like books and authors of books, nature, Megoňky, the stone walls, town photo farms, river Čadca, and I wanted to have there Husárik for our lecture, for our trainer.
I didn't have time to finish it, but we promised to stick it somewhere.
Somewhere at the top.
Yeah.
We were not sure what's the symbol of Husárik, but I'm sure you will remember it's this. So,
And where did you get these beautiful flowers?
all around.
In the forest.
I knew you'd find a use for that pebble.
It's our pleasure to leave it with Mark.
Yes. So next
Remember
course
the
you can
course.
tell others like where you got it from and what it represents.
You just have to pick new flowers.
You will have to refresh those flowers.
Yes. Okay, thank you for your attention.
Thank you for listening.